Are you
So
sure?
I'm drinking a Big Bird too. Bink, there you go.
Big Bird?
hmm
Okay.
Bobby's drinking water.
Let me,
Drink's
I
passing.
see.
What is that? Like a jar of olives?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I
just a jar
love
of
eating
olives.
them.
That's not a martini.
It sucks up the vodka in there, and then it's like dessert afterwards.
So
And then I have a
we
canister of 30 martinis.
we heavily promoted this episode as 80s horror movie episode
Oh,
because uh, Bink, you had so much fun joining us the last time, or not the last time, but the last time you were on here that you immediately within a couple days shot me some ideas on like, hey, I want to do it again, and had some ideas down. One was 80s horror movies, and I flipped that out to Bobby and Richie this week, and that's right up Richie's alley. And he was gung ho for it, and it was kind of funny. Bobby and I hopped on before we started recording. We're both like, this is gonna be a, I don't know what we kind of sit back and watch kind of episode.
I'll let you
so
guys do the work, you and Richie. But then Richie bailed, and
Yes.
so apparently, and I'm just going by what I've heard through the rumor mill, he had a hot date with Harley Quinn Smith tonight. So we're
how
gonna
much did he
excuse him.
pay?
What's that?
How much did he pay for it?
Oh, that I don't know. That I don't know. But he's turned over a new leaf. He's decided that his hatred was actually just masking his love of Harley Quinn Smith, and really all things Kevin Smith. Anything he's created, Richie is just all about. So he's ditching us tonight to go out on a date with Harley Quinn Smith, and I'm sure he'll have lots to say about that when he comes back next week, if he comes back.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and we'll do 80s horrors, 80 horror movies in more detail with Richie because I Bobby and I we talked about that. We definitely don't want to do a full blown episode on that without him, just because that's his wheelhouse. But Bink, I know you wrote down a few pages of notes, so we're not going to just let that slide either. And then we can get into some deeper things. The one question though you framed to me, and I think this is something that we can kind of carry on. We'll kind of use this as a teaser. You texted me earlier this week and were like, "Gremlins, is that a horror movie?" And I want to frame that same question to you, Bobby. What do you think?
Ooh. So now there's two ways for me to look at this. There's little kid in the 80s me where the Mogwais were super cute, but the Gremlins terrified the shit out of me. And so, when Gremlins 1 came out, horror movie, absolute horror movie, scared me. I didn't like watching it. Much in the vein of the Michael Jackson Thriller video, where it scared the shit out of me when I was a little kid.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Now, loved Michael Jackson, dressed up as Michael Jackson. You may actually say I predicted Michael Jackson turning white when I was in kindergarten or preschool. I dressed up as Michael Jackson in the Thriller jacket. My mom made it. There's pictures of me somewhere. Had the little white glove, and I hung out in a preschool, so I was definitely ahead of the game on the Michael Jackson stuff. All right.
Did you get
Didn't
the
use
special tour at
blackface.
Neverland Ranch?
I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, but I didn't. But when by the time the late 90s or late 80s rolled around, early 90s, and Gremlins 2 was coming out, I was still a little chicken shit of a kid, so it still kind of freaked me out. But I could see that it wasn't really a horror movie, that it was more of a, especially by the time Gremlins 2 came out, because Ghostbusters was much the same for me. Where
I have that on my
Ghostbusters,
list as well.
that didn't scare me when I was a kid,
Mhm.
because I never saw it when I was little. But my introduction to Ghostbusters was the real Ghostbusters cartoon on Saturday mornings, and so that was my introduction to that. And then as I got a little bit older, I saw the movie. But I do remember succinctly Ghostbusters 2 coming out and being aware that, this is supposed to be a comedy, not really a scary movie. And I remember because me and Richie used to go to the corner store and buy the packs of the Ghostbusters 2 trading card set. It
Was
was
that the
the blue.
Pogs? The round ones?
No, it was a blue bordered trading card with a yellow like thing around it. Almost looked like the Chargers logo. It was really weird. Looked like electricity around it. Which was I don't know. It was really weird, but I remember that, and I remember when Nintendo Power did a whole spread on the Gremlins 2 game, and looking at it and like, okay, yeah, this isn't really horror. This is more comedy, and maybe that's what the first one was supposed to be, but I was just too young to understand it. So that's, to me, as an adult now, yeah, it was kind of like a comedy-ish. I mean, you could even say a Christmas movie. It took place at Christmas.
That's
Like Die Hard.
Like Die Hard.
yeah, exactly.
Like
I thought
like
that was
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
such an
Here's my
interesting.
question: did you love Ecto Cooler?
Oh, yes.
God, I missed
Dude,
that.
listen. Up until they discontinued all the different flavors that actually took over for Ecto Cooler, I used to go to Zally's ShopRite in Mantua, and I would buy whenever they would change it over and make it like it was like Shouting Orange, Tangerine, and like I forget what the other one was, but I would go buy it. And when you looked at the receipt, the SKU actually still said Ecto Cooler. So I would go and buy that, and I'd be like, I forget how old I was, in my 20s, and I'm like squeezing freaking Ecto Cooler like high C's that are the size of my fist, like just kind of like Tom and Thai bananas,
Yeah,
just sucking on them.
Yeah,
definitely Thai bananas.
yeah.
Okay.
But I was like, the funniest thing was like, Bink, whenever you texted me that, I was like, this is like, if you think about it, material for not just this episode, but other episodes. Like you said, a Die Hard Christmas movie, those sorts of questions that we could probably really flip back and forth on. But
actually, you know what? Hold that thought for a second. I forgot. Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
what?
Die Hard is a Harry Potter movie. Bunch of people sneaking around on Christmas, trying not to get caught by Alan Rickman.
No, see, you said Gremlins. I'm a little older. My movie was E.T. E.T. scared the shit out of me. So, like, obviously older me, nothing. But like at the time, E.T. freaked me out.
No, I get that. I totally get it, because I'm pretty sure I don't deal. All right, so here's, you want to know how stupid or how bad I am. My main recollection of E.T. comes down to a couple things. Number one, I remember McDonald's selling E.T. posters, in like the Happy Meals or some shit. But most of my recollection of E.T. comes from the Atari 2600 game, and when they did the re-release where they replaced all the guns with radios. They did like a remaster re-release in the theaters, and they replaced all the guns with radios. And those are my two. Yeah. Well, that was because South Park did a whole episode about it, and then they had all the cops in their show on that episode had radios instead of guns.
The funny thing is, I remember, I think we've talked about it before here. The Atari game.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that landfilled a bunch of copies of it? Because I mean, I realize it's always historically known as like the worst video game ever produced. Right? We talked about this, right. I think, on here before.
So yeah, the Angry Video Game Nerd, who I'm sure we talked about, he actually did like a whole big thing on it and a whole movie about finding the landfill where they buried all of the Atari 2600.
That's right. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
And I can't, to this day though, I'm going to double check. I'm going to Google it, because I don't remember necessarily if it ended up just being an urban legend or if it's something they actually did. But I'm fairly certain they really did landfill a bunch of those games.
I thought so too.
Yes.
That's what
one game that didn't get released or something like that, and they found it like a perfect one. I saw it on Pawn Stars, and they had one of the original Atari ones, and the game was going for like $70,000 or something.
Was
ridiculous.
that? Richie,
oh yeah, here it is.
Richie brought these up before. Was talking about some of these games that were discarded, or some of the
1983. They did it. Centipede, Atari. It wasn't just Centipede, ET. It wasn't just ET. It was Centipede. It was a whole bunch of different games, because they just had a huge like stock of them.
It's weird because Centipede's such a classic. ET was just bad. ET was bad when it was released.
Yeah. Well, all right. So what happened is there were just so many games that they had sitting, like they were just sitting on them.
They did clear shelf space, basically.
Well, the market had dropped out. The market
that's right. That's right.
Crashed.
That's right.
And so they just had so many of them. They did that, and then they went out and they excavated and they found all these smashed cartridges and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's pretty insane. I really wish that I could have. I really wish I could have gotten out there for that. Because
I think we found their avenue on what we're talking about, though. Because Bink, I know you're a gamer, so we might as well stay down this road. What do y'all feel about that?
Yeah.
Good, Bink. Good. No.
Thai bananas.
Yeah, Thai bananas. Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Oh no.
I'm gonna stop at that. I'm not gonna pester you like I did the other night. I did get him.
He did it really loud right after security came, apparently, to the after party.
yeah, Big. I got him a couple times this weekend. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
You failed to mention that.
Yeah, of course he did. He said you've been doing it to him too, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, he has.
We did mention the Thai bananas on the video, so we got that in there too. So it's been fun, man. But yeah, so let me I want to kind of steal the floor for a second here. So I mentioned earlier the Angry Video Game Nerd, and that's something that Richie and I talked about on one of our video game episodes, where he had said he was kind of like Kevin Smith, where he stopped putting out good stuff, and hopefully Richie's putting out some good stuff into Harley Quinn Smith tonight. But I watched a video he did recently. It was within the last week, and he did, instead of his normal angry avatar, so to speak, he wasn't really his character. He was a little bit in this new video. He did a retrospective on Contra, and on he did it. It was mainly focusing on Contra, Super C, and Operation C for the Game Boy, and then he talked about Contra 3, the Alien Wars for Super Nintendo, and he talked about Contra Hardcore for the Genesis. But he mainly focused on the first two for the NES, and he walked through and he was like, it was really well done, where he talked about how nostalgia takes over, but the game itself is still so good. And it can, you're playing the games and you think of that game and you think back to the good times you had, and you're like, man, I really love that game. The game was great. But was it really the game, or was it really kind of a function of the time period you were in and the people you were playing it with and the experiences you were having with it? And would it still be good going back now? So
I think a two-player side scroller at that time, me and my buddy, I remember sitting in his room playing that game for hours upon hours.
Right. And that was what he brought up. He's like, was it really a good game, or was it a function of what was going on at that time? So in that same vein, do you guys have any games that you can think of where you think of the game and you can say, I remember that being a really good game. I remember having a lot of fun with it. But if you think back, was it really the game itself, or was it how you felt and what was going on at the time when you were playing that game? Do you have any games like that?
I would say RBI Baseball for me.
Nice.
It was such a classic game. I was so into baseball at the time. Me and my buddies, there was like four of us that we would all go to one house and we'd all play just RBI Baseball. We just absolutely love it.
That's a great game.
The other one was Super Tecmo Bowl. And whoever had Bo Jackson, you won the day because touchdown.
Yeah, we've I tell you what, that game Bobby and I have talked about to no end on that. That's like one of my all-time favorite games. So got to be the NES version though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, we played it when you guys came down for Christmas. We played Tecmo Super Bowl.
We only played one game, and I'll take credit for the one victory.
Yes, you did. You did beat.
But then you whipped up on me in everything else we played. So.
Well, yeah. And Super Blood Hockey.
That was fun. Yeah. So Bobby introduced me to Super Blood Hockey this weekend, which is a take on Blades of Steel. Yeah, to take on Blades of
Oh,
Steel.
yeah.
And do you remember the original ice hockey for Nintendo?
Yeah,
Where you had
it was
to choose
bad.
between like the skinny guy, the middle guy, and like the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a cross between that. And so Bobby just beats the tar out of me on that one.
Well, you played
But-
as North Korea. What did you think was going to happen?
That's
They don't
right, I
have
did.
ice in North Korea.
I totally
You
forgot.
weren't
that I did.
Thailand?
There was no Thailand. I would have picked Thailand. They're,
You know, I'll tell you though, we didn't figure out how to fight. You can fight in that game.
oh, like a Blades of Steel fight?
I don't know exactly how the fights play out, but I know you can fight in it. And we never figured that out. We just beat the piss out of each other, and you know.
Yeah. It was fun though. Now you go back to your question though. You're talking about. I know Jeff. You mentioned RBI baseball, and you kind of led this off with Contra and stuff. But like, I don't know, games that like kind of really make you think and reminisce. And I remember Donkey Kong Country was one of those for me. And I'm going to say it for two different periods of my life. I love the game. Don't get me wrong, but by all means, it's not my favorite game. It's just a game that I probably put on a pedestal higher than it should be, even though it's a great, it's weird to say because it's probably like an 8 or 9 out of 10, but to me, it'll always be like a 10 out of 10 game. I remember when it first came out playing it with, friends that I went to Lambs Road with. And, Bobby, the school I went to was very small. And so it was something unique, something fun to do with like the people that at the time I consider family. And I just have like really fond memories of playing that. But then fast forward in life, now we have the Super Nintendo stuff on the Switch, Switch Online. And Tommy got really into it. And so we were playing, 2-player. And Jeff, you'd mentioned that with Contra. So here I am playing with my son. He's playing his Diddy. I'm playing his Donkey. And, we beat the game. And it's a lot of, so at 2 separate periods of my life, I've already obviously played that game through no matter what. But like, yeah, that's kind of how that one is for me. I guess that would be like the fond memories of a game that's probably not top tier, but I put it on another level.
Yeah. No, I remember.
You said about college. My college game with my buddies was Mario Kart. We'd just get drunk and bet on Mario Kart. I got so good that my buddies made me sit for a full lap because I was beating them so badly. And they would have to go around, and then on their second lap around, I could start because I knew where all the secrets were, and I was just much better than all of them.
I wish we could play that. You can. I know you can play that online, Bobby. Can you host though, to where you can have friends come in and play, or no?
That's something we have to look into. That you know what? Let me see.
Because I play online. I play online quite a bit with Katie and Tommy, but it's always random people.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff, I know I've finally got Jeff introduced into the Switch world recently, so
right,
I'd like to put him take him to task on that.
Okay, so it says you can.
You used to be able to do it on the old system, the one before the Switch, whatever one that was.
The Wii.
The Wii, yeah, you could do it on the Wii. Because I used to play against my parents.
So...
because
you
that's
could host a room and then play.
Yeah, because your folks are in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you can play online.
Yeah, I know you can play online.
No, but I mean like you can do specifically with friends. So that might be because you do a tournament code and then you give the code to people and then they can log in and put the code in and then they can sign into your.
Okay. All right. So I think you have to be part of the Switch Online service though, right?
I did not say, but I would imagine so.
Yeah. So
I would imagine you'd have to be at least volunteer.
PlayStation?
Yeah, it's because it's like the was it PlayStation Plus for the online gaming? Mm-hmm. The Switch has one, but there was like a couple different tiers for it. And it's the first tier is relatively inexpensive for the yearly. What is it, $20 or something?
Was it 20 or 25?
Yeah, that's right. They might have raised it. but yeah, you get like the online play, and then you get some other stuff too, like with the classic Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. But now, yeah, that's something we might have to. These are all good ideas that we can kind of bring in as far as later down the road. But going back to those fond memory type games, that as far as maybe let's talk on that. Maybe they weren't the best games, but Bobby, what about you? Like, what do you like really sticks in your mind?
So I can remember several games. So like RC Pro Am, Baseball Stars. Obviously, we played the hell out of
Yes,
that.
sir.
Contra is one I remember playing with multiple different people. I beat it with you and at my mom's house.
That's I mean, I'm not going to knock your Contra skills. I just would have never have thought that was the person you would have mentioned.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's funny because I remember playing it a lot as a kid, and I never really got too far. And then Ewan and I were playing it at my mom's house one day, and we just plowed through the game. So,
well, it was impossible without the code.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Absolutely. We definitely used the code, and it was a pain in the ass, but we beat it. Jaws was a terrible fucking game.
I had that too. I hated that game.
Oh, I fucking hated it. But you know what? One time I beat it, and it was fucking worth it.
That's one of my favorite Nintendo games, and I think because I hate it so much.
Yeah. No, absolutely, dude. It was a fucking terrible game, but you know what? I wanted to beat it, and so I fucking did. And I may have done it on an emulator and used some save state shenanigans, but I did fucking beat that game. Fuck that game.
Did either of you guys play? And I mean to step on your thing here, but Jaws reminded me. Did either of you guys play the Back to the Future game for the Nintendo?
It was
fuck that game too.
Exactly. Sorry, it was in that same vein. So
So, and again, we're going to come back to the Angry Video Game Nerd, but he does a whole series on those LJN licensed games, and he does it like it's low hanging fruit, but dude, it's 100% correct. Like, I can't think of an LJN game that I fucking enjoyed.
Yeah, that's a good call.
The Turtles game also sucked ass.
The original one.
Yes,
but I loved it.
Oh,
I loved
did
it 'cause
too.
it was fucking turtles.
You can only get so far, and then it was like,
well, here's the thing: when I was a kid, I could get through that fucking seaweed shit. I could do that. I played that game so much, I got through it every single time, and it was just an annoyance at that point. I tried it recently. I can't fucking swim. It's like I'm in real life. That game was cool because unlike real life, I could swim really well. Now the video game mirrors my real life where I can't swim. So that game sucks. But that is in the Cowabunga collection that's coming out. So I'll be have you guys seen that yet?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Is this the one coming out with like Turtles in Time and stuff?
So this is coming out for the Switch, the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and it's got all of the original Turtles games for the NES. So Turtles 1, Turtles 2, the arcade game, Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project. It's got the Game Boy games. It's got Turtles in Time. It's got Hyperstone Heist. It has tournament fighters for the NES, the Genesis, and the Super Nintendo. All completely different games. It's got all of these games and more, and Japanese versions of the games. And it's coming out, I think it's like $30 or $40, but it comes out if not soon. I get the release date screwed up between that and the Shredder's Revenge game that's coming out. So it's a good time to be a Turtles fan.
Dude, I'd buy that just for Turtles in Time. No lie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, absolutely.
That's one of my all-time favorites.
Well, and
when you
Hyperstone
threw the
Heist
guy and it comes at the screen. I mean, that was so revolutionary.
Right? That was awesome. Well, and Hyperstone Heist was when I got my Genesis for Christmas. That was the first Genesis. That was one of the first Genesis games I got because it came with Sonic, and then I got Mike Ditka Power Football, and then my grandparents got me Hyperstone Heist. Mike Ditka. No, but you got to say it. You have to say it like it said it in the game. Mike Ditka Power Football.
They did the same thing on the PC version, which I had. Mike Ditka's Ultimate Football.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. Matter of fact, let's YouTube this this opening because I can remember the music too.
Did you ever play those Mike Ditka games, Jeff?
Yeah, played those, and then of course the early Maddens, the Talk Maddens on Genesis.
Oh yeah, wow. Now, did you play the Ditka game? Was it on the console?
Think so.
Were you a PC gamer back when you were younger?
No, console.
All console.
Yeah.
See, that was I went from like PC when I was real little because my parents always had computers in the house into console and back into PC, and I kind of did a mesh of everything. So Bobby and I've talked about this before, so I just said it's like he played Power Football, which was the console version of Ultimate Football, which is the PC version. Same terrible game. So yeah.
Did you guys? Did that come over the sound when I did that?
No.
No,
Okay.
you can try to share it, I guess.
Let me see if I can share this.
One of these days, we're gonna figure out what we're doing with actually splicing in and doing real.
Yeah. All right, I'm presenting now. So here you go. Let's see if this comes up over the audio for you.
It was real faint.
It's so good, and you hear the dudes in the back.
That's kind of like the Mutant League Football tackles.
Yeah. Oh, I love that game too.
Oh.
Mutant League Hockey. Mutant League Hockey was my jam.
See, I was
Blitz was fun too in that same type of genre.
Yeah. See, I never got into Blitz too much because when Blitz came out, I was freaking terrible at it. So I just was like, fuck this.
Blitz was a good arcade game. I remember playing that more in the arcade than I ever played.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
When you line your quarters up on the thing of who was next.
Now NBA Jam, that was I was so into that
level.
Yeah, that was the one arcade 1-up cabinet I was considering, but I have no room for it. So
I thought about that one and X-Men.
Yeah. I wanted the Simpsons one, but
Simpsons one is awesome.
Especially
Bob, you still have one?
No, I had to get rid of it
because
we're going to be probably downsizing at some point.
Yeah,
so.
I knew you had. Which one did you have?
So I originally had X-Men versus Street Fighter, and it had X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel versus Capcom, and it had was it the X-Men Children of the Atom game on it. And then I sold that one, and I got the Turtles in Time one, and it had Turtles in Time, and it had the original Turtles arcade game. But again, it's just, it was taking up a lot of space, and it was barely being used. I didn't use it nearly enough to have it taken up the spot in the living room it was taken up.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, all right, well,
that was kind of my rationale into I really talked myself into wanting to get one, and then it's like, you know what, it's not going to be used, and just to take up all this space, it just doesn't make any sense.
And it would be one thing, if I knew other people that had it, because one of the cool things with it is you can play online with people. And so if I knew, if the three of us and 4 or 5 other people we knew had got NBA Jam cabinets, and then we were like, oh dude, we're gonna have an NBA Jam tournament or something like that. Cool, let's go. And then we could play against each other and all that. But it was a situation where it was like, okay, I'm the only one I know that even has one of these, let alone this specific one. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It almost makes me hope that one day they'll kind of go the commercial homebrew route where you have the 1-up machines, but they have a lot more software on them.
So they are doing that.
Of course, because I just said it. Thank you very much.
And not only that, they've created one where it's the control deck. So the two, the sticks and the buttons and all that stuff, and it connects to your TV.
Okay, I've seen that. Yeah.
So you've got, and that's they have a new one, Buy Arcade 1-Up, where it has where it actually has a bunch of games in there. And I want to say AT Games or somebody like that. Whoever makes the one that
Legends Pinball.
Yeah. Well, they do. They did the wrestling what's the wrestling game?
Retromania?
Retromania. They teamed with the company that makes those cabinets, and they made one like that too, where it's like a deck, and then it connects, and you can download like Retromania. You can download all these other games. You can pick and choose which ones you want and download them to it.
Bink, this is funny. Just the way Bob and I have gone back and forth on some of these things, I kind of feel like we're doing a remix episode because we've literally talked about all of these things before. That's why we know like the
Did any of your buddies have Neo Geo?
No,
I had
I
one
wish.
friend that was his parents were rich as shit, and they bought him a Neo Geo because those games were $200 a piece.
Yeah,
And some of those games were amazing, absolutely amazing games.
Yeah, we dove into that. I can't remember what episode that was, but
was that the one where we did like our retro wish list?
I think it was. Yeah.
And yeah, because I mean that was one where I remember playing the Neo Geo arcade cabinets like with the multi-selecting games in like Showtime Pizza and stuff like that. And I remember specifically Samurai Showdown.
That's
because that
what
game
I'm trying
was
to think of. Yep.
so cool. Such a cool game. And then Metal Slug was on there. Baseball Stars was on there, but it was an inferior version to the NES version and then one of the best baseball games of all time, Super Baseball 2020.
Yes. Did you ever
which
play
I'm
that?
still waiting on my jetpack.
Yeah, that's all right. So, all right, we're kind of since in my head now, I've got like some of our past content in my head, but video game related. I think you've mentioned this before to me through text, so I want to put you on the spot. You don't have to say that this is like your ultimate top 5. Your top 5 favorite video games of all time, the way you're feeling right now. Go.
Number 1 is so easy for me. It's Super Mario Brothers 3. I've beaten that game so many times. I absolutely love that game beyond belief. I actually had my NES in my shed, and I hooked it up one night, and I just played through it, and just beat the crap out of. I also had the boomerang controller where you had the turbo button. So when you get a P-wing, you just hit it, and you don't have to hit the button 900 times, so you just fly along. So that would be my number 1. Mario Kart Double Dash, I absolutely loved.
I love Mario Kart Double Dash.
Tetris for Nintendo would be my number 3.
Gee, what's that game?
Never heard of it.
Tetris, yeah. What's that?
I'm okay at that game.
We've never talked about that game.
Never. Hate to put you on the spot with one of those things, but while you're thinking, the reason why I said at this given time, Bobby,
Extreme Volleyball.
I'm a huge fan of the Borderlands games.
I was waiting for you to say Custer's Last Revenge.
Custer's Revenge.
Custer's Revenge.
That's the other one. Beat 'em and Eat 'em. Did you, Bink? Have you ever seen these games?
No.
So they're
Custer's Last Revenge.
Custer's Revenge.
Custer's Revenge. Yeah.
So they're porn games for the Atari 2600, and they came in, and now Richie. So hopefully he listens to this after his date with Harley Quinn Smith. But after she gets done strapping one on and taking him to Pound Town, he can go into his closet and he can unstrap his leather pouch that has, because these came in leather pouches with a little thing on it so you could lock it, so your kids couldn't play the pornographic Atari games.
Really?
Yeah. So Custer's Revenge, there is a Native American woman tied to a cactus, naked, and you're General Custer with your big ass hat and your big floppy donkey dick, and you have to go across the level while arrows are raining down. You have to go in between the arrows, and you go over, and you have to thrust into the Native American while she's tied to the cactus. And every time you successfully do, it goes da 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 da, and that's how you score points. And Richie has this. So he has that. He has, I think he has Beat 'em and Eat 'em, which you're like a disembodied head with arms sticking out of where the ears should be, attached to a dick, and you're just like jerking yourself off. And then there's these naked chicks running around the bottom of the screen with their boobs bouncing, and they have to catch what comes out of you. Or maybe you control the women at the bottom. I don't remember, and I think that there was, you know how you could do like the different level select thing on the Atari with the different with the little switch. I'm fairly certain that you could change the levels and make it dudes at the bottom if you wanted, or chicks. I can't remember all of it because there was just so much to take in. There's another one. It's something about a sexy night adventure or something like that, and you're this knight with a giant fucking dong flopping around, and you have to try and cross a bridge, but monsters are jumping up out of the water and they'll grab your dick. And there's like a princess on the other side and hanging out a window with their titties out. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I had no idea.
So
dude, there's a whole
none of those in your top 5
thing.
No.
So with Borderlands, okay, so you go on the Borderlands.
So now we're done talking about pornographic Atari games. Borderlands.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring us back to earth here. The Borderlands. So do you? I know you were a big fan of the Tiny Tina's game.
I am. I'm playing that one a lot, but probably Borderlands 2 would be my favorite out of that.
Amen. And that's my favorite too.
And then I would have to say Final Fantasy VII. I absolutely love that game. I haven't played the new one, or the remake of it, but like the original. I mean, when you had to switch disc, that was such excitement of getting to that third disc. It's like you finally know that the end of the game is close after like 50 or 60 hours, if not more.
Yeah, that's a classic one, man. I remember that vividly with playing on the PlayStation, and that's one of my all-time favorites. I've never gone back and played the remasters either, but because I was such a fan of like the US versions of what the US would call Final Fantasy 2 and 3. And I love the fact that Final Fantasy 3 was included on the Super Nintendo, the mini one that was re-released. That had, what was it, Bob, like 30 games or so on it?
Yeah, I think it was like 30 or 32.
I was really bummed to didn't have Final Fantasy 2 on it because that's like my all-time favorite, but 3 is awesome. But 7 I had the same affinity for when the PlayStation came out because it really was such a different game. But it was I don't know, it was really cool. It really kind of set this tone for what those games are going to be.
Right.
And what a lot of other games are going to be.
So invested in it, and then whenever the princess died, you're like, what the fuck? It was one of those moments just like, no. It was just kind of out of the ordinary.
I'm the weird one here because the only Final Fantasy game I've ever played was Tactics Advance for the Game Boy.
No, we it's funny too because we talked about this before. But those tactics games are fun, man. Like,
oh yeah,
they're but it's so different. You know, it's way different than the storyline driven ones. But dude, those were great. I really fell out of favor with those. Gosh, like I don't know, after 8 or 9. And not because they were bad, I just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah,
you know, you kind of get into a different part of gaming, I guess, and whatever. What about you, Bink? Did you play much past 7? Because I honestly didn't.
I played 10. That was it. And then I bought 12 and just never played it really.
Yeah, really, like I said, after the 7, 8, 9-ish range, I gave up. It's not, looking back on it and trying to go through and playing some of that stuff now. I would love to like really devote the time and go back through and say, okay, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and up the whatever ladder there, but that's not going to happen.
Right. And then there are 2 other games I would put on the same even pedestal would be God of War and Drake's Fortune. Those they're just fun games.
I was trying to think, going back on the Borderlands discussion reminded me is Bobby and I play this a lot. Were you big, because Borderlands obviously loot based? Were you big into Diablo?
Yeah, I didn't mind Diablo. I played those. Played those on the computer.
Yeah. So Bobby, I know you just not too long ago you picked up a copy through an Xbox purchase, right?
Yeah, I got Diablo 2. I haven't played it yet. When I got it, I was buying a Series X for my nephew for Christmas, and in order to buy it, you had to buy a game and you had to buy a controller. And so the controller was fine, so I wanted to get him a controller anyway. But I got Diablo 2 because I was like, well, screw it, I want Diablo 2, and this is a perfect excuse to buy it. I think it was only like $30 or $40 for it. So I was like, all right, let's do that. But in the middle of that, I was just getting back into Destiny 2. So I was playing Destiny 2 really
Destiny, those are fun
hardcore.
games.
Yeah. So I was like so entrenched in that I still to this day I haven't played. I know it's on my Xbox. I just haven't played it yet. So my Diablo experience was Diablo 3 for PS3.
Yeah, Diablo 3 is good. I think the thing I finally really picked that up and played it for the Switch, and you and I have talked about this before. I think the thing I love about Diablo 2 ahead of Diablo 3 is that Diablo 3 is really convoluted. Because there's a lot of stuff going on. Diablo 2 like is very like simplifies that, to like I don't know. You can have a great game, and again, we've done this before, going down this road, that doesn't have the best graphics, doesn't have the best storyline, doesn't have the best whatever, but it's all about playability. To me, that's Diablo 2 ahead of Diablo 3. Not saying Diablo 3 is a bad game. I think it's a great game. It's just that, for me, a little busy. I really like it's like a perfect spot. So whenever they had announced they were re-releasing it, obviously it was like, wow, I was all over that.
Right.
But so we did loot base, we did whatever. Okay, so now let's flip the table. So we did top 5, and I think we got your top 5 in some way of your favorites. What about of games that you just are like, never again, waste of money, I can't believe I bought that?
Turtles for NES. Just absolutely hated it. Wow. Might sound different, but Resistance 3. Because Resistance 2, in my mind, had the best multiplayer. We would just enjoy it so much, the multiplayer on that. And then 3, they got rid of it. And it was such a big letdown. And they never made any more Resistance games after 3.
This is the first time that's ever been mentioned here. Right? We never talked about the Resistance series, did we?
No, which is it's a good series. It was especially when it came, the very first one when it came out on PS3 was kind of what sold me on the PS3.
Yeah.
That and that Rubber Duck game that was like a tech demo essentially, where you had to use the DualSense to get the rubber ducks through the maze and into the drain and avoid the like sharks and stuff. I'm the only one who played that.
Yeah.
It was, or 6-axis. I'm sorry. It was I guess like a kind of like a tech demo almost for the 6-axis, but you had to take it and you had to like tilt it. It was like those marble maze games. So what you did is you had the mother duck and you had to move the mother duck around the maze and collect all the baby ducks and get them to the drain in like the bathtub thing. But there were these little mechanical sharks that would go through and eat the babies and stuff. And if you fell off the side, then all the babies would jump off the side too. And it was kind of funny.
I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
I mean, I still have my PS3 hooked up and it's on there. I could show you guys eventually, but I think it was like Rubber Dub Dub or some shit. Maybe it was Rubber Duck Dub. I don't fucking remember.
Also a first mention.
I'm gonna find this fucking game now.
Hey, by the way, Bink, I'm about to crack open the another one of the
Cherry Fandango.
No. You don't say it. Bobby, how do you say that word?
Fun, done, go. You've got to let the A's breathe. Okay, all right, here it is. It's called Super Rub-a-Dub. Well, fucking, of course it's not the show. Super Rub-a-Dub.
Everything's
That sounds like a porn too.
Yeah, at least it's not Super Rub and Tug,
Yeah.
which is what
Custer's
Richie's getting
Revenge.
from Harley Quinn Smith right now. Is a Super Rub and Tug.
Hey, you know what? Richie and I were easy on you, man. You're just killing him.
Well, you haven't said shit, so I got to pick up the slack.
Exactly, because
Because you
I
don't want to
think
get fucking hammered when you miss an episode.
because I won't. Hmm?
Okay. All right. All right, fuckface.
This one might spark a little issue. Is Assassin's Creed?
Ooh. No, controversy. No,
I
not
like
at all.
the first one. After
which
that, I was
one?
just like, I don't know. It's like PS2 or 3 came out. Like the original Assassin's Creed. I like that one. But then they went to all these different years and pirates, and I'm just like, I just did not enjoy it.
So the only one I ever really liked and that I played a lot of was the pirate one.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to play the ones beyond the pirate one, and no thanks.
Yeah,
not for me. But I really like the pirate one because I like pirates. I think they're cool.
You like watching Poop Deck, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, him and Amber Heard.
Hey, Danielle, we're talking about Amber Heard.
So,
you know what cures scurvy is Thai bananas.
Yeah, that's true. Thai bananas do.
We're talking about poop decks on ships. And Danielle's over there watching Amber Heard videos. So
is it that
worked out really well.
2 herds, 1 cup.
You showed me.
Oh, Tom missed it. Tom missed it.
I did miss it. Yeah. That went over my head. I don't know what you said, but it's probably something about Thai bananas, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. 2 herds, 1 cup.
Hashtag
2 herds, 1 cup. That's the name of this episode.
2 herds, 1 cup.
Yep.
We're gonna make something out of this after all.
That's it. We just won the episode right there.
Yep.
For all of you that have been listening for about 40 minutes and we're like, you guys are just talking about the same stuff. Well, we just brought you some new content right there.
Hey, speaking of new stuff.
Hold on, we have our second guest here. Danielle, go ahead.
The whole takeaway from that is you don't marry crazy.
There you go. So don't marry crazy.
Don't marry crazy. It's okay to play around with crazy and like have fun with crazy. Don't marry crazy.
Right. Well, as Kevin Smith so
there you go.
Yeah. As Kevin Smith so succinctly said, you don't fuck the vapid. It's true.
Oh, man.
It's a true story.
All right, so Bink, Assassin's Creed games aside, any other games like that are just not in your wheelhouse? Because look, Bobby and I have done this before. We've sat here and done like our likes, dislikes, whatever. But I am generally curious because you and I have talked a lot about gaming, but I really don't know what else that you don't like. So what else? Anything comes to mind?
Street Fighter. Well, I enjoy watching it. I can't hit the damn buttons quick enough, so it's like,
wow, that's cool. Dude, wow. I'm not saying you're wrong on that one at all. That's a great that's a great way to say that you don't like a game. Yeah.
I guess I got fat thumbs, or I don't know.
That's funny because Street Fighter 2 was actually that's a game that Richie and I used to play a lot at his house. When that came out on the Super NES, like that was our jam. Like we used to play that stuff all the time. And I remember specifically asking for my birthday one year for a 6-button controller for the Genesis because Super Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition came out for the Genesis. And I'm like, yeah, I want Super Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition and I want a 6-button controller. So So my birthday comes and I open a box and there's the 6-button controller and I get super excited. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Where is it? So I'm expected to get handed another package. And then my parents are like, what are you talking about? And then I'm like, well, I only wanted this if I got Street Fighter. And they're like, well, we didn't get you Street Fighter. I'm like, and I thought they were screwing with me because like a couple years before that, for my birthday, they got me a Super Mario Brothers 3 trash can. And it was filled with packing peanuts. And I'm like, really? You got me a Super Mario Brothers 3 trash can? And I must have looked like the most spoiled piece of shit kid in the world. But honestly, I was kind of taken aback that they got me a trash can. I got upset. I thought they were making fun of me for liking video games. And they're like, did you dump it out? I'm like, no, I can't believe you got me a trash can. They're like, dummy. They didn't say dummy, but it was
They were
important.
thinking it.
Dummy. Dump the trash can out. And Super Mario Brothers 3 was taped to the bottom of the trash can.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, it was awesome. They were awesome. Still are. But then they got me the 6-button controller, and I'm thinking that they're doing the same shit to me. And they were just fucking with me. They weren't fucking with me. They thought I just legitimately wanted a 6-button controller for my Genesis. So what I ended up doing was my mom took me down to the casinos after that and won a shit ton of money on a nickel slot and handed me literally a bucket of nickels that I then took to what was that store? Was it Caldor? I want to say it was Caldor on 45.
45.
Yeah. And I walked in with a fucking bucket of nickels and bought Street Fighter 2. And I played the shit out of that game.
Oh man, no Caldor.
I mean, I enjoy watching my buddies play and all that. I was just like, I just didn't want to play it.
Yeah. Well, I can't play it now. I can't keep up with all the bullshit they've got going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I thought it was a great thing that you said that. I love Street Fighter. I really do, but I can't play them. I never really could play them that well even years ago, and kind of for that reason. But that's again something that saying kind of goes for a lot of fighting games for me. I can't memorize the combinations. I don't have the good enough coordination to even consider it. And like when I go play a fighting game, I generally at this point the only fighting game I play is Smash, and I literally that's all I do is hit buttons because I don't know what I'm doing. I just hit buttons. And
the only fighter game that I was really good at was called Rival Schools.
Yeah.
And like for whatever reason, I could play well with that. No other fighting game I can play well at.
I did pick up and really only for storyline purposes, I picked up what is it called? Injustice and Injustice 2. Because the storyline is so cool. And like I've read the comic books that I bought the DVD movie thing that they did. And it's such a cool storyline. And are you guys familiar with it at all?
Yeah. So at least the Injustice games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We actually Brock does. We've had Brock here before on the podcast. But my lead technician who runs our esports program at our high school, Injustice is one of the games as part of the program. So I'm not like ultra familiar with it, but I obviously familiar enough with it to know that that it's a very popular DC fighting game. So
do you know the storyline behind it?
Vaguely, like just very.
So basically what it comes down to is the Joker ends up getting some kryptonite and he laces the Scarecrow's fear toxin with kryptonite and uses it on Superman. And he makes Superman think that Doomsday is attacking the city. Well, meanwhile, what he's done is Lois Lane is pregnant. And Joker kidnaps Superman and attaches a detonator to her heart that is attached to a nuclear bomb. So when her heart stops beating, it detonates a nuclear bomb in the middle of Metropolis and blows up Metropolis. So he doses Superman with the fear toxin with the kryptonite in it. It affects him. He sees Lois Lane as Doomsday, beats the piss out of her, takes her up into space, and her heart stops. And he hears both hearts stop. And that's when he
Oh.
realizes, oh shit. And then the fear toxin wears off and he sees that it's her and he knows that she was pregnant. And then Batman is there and Batman's like, what the fuck? You just fucked up to the Joker. He's like interrogating him. He's like, why would you do that? He was the best of us. Why would you do that to him? And then Superman breaks in the jail and puts his fist through the fucking Joker's chest. Like basically Kano's him. Like knocks his heart right out of his chest. And then he turns into a dictator. That's what causes him to he's like, you know what? Fuck it. He's like, I'm done with this. Every time we get these fuckers, we put them in jail and they break out and they fuck shit up. So you know what? From here on out, I'm in charge. We're doing this shit my way. No more of that bullshit. I'm taking control. And he threatens all of the countries in the world to get rid of their nukes and to submit to him, or else he's going to destroy them.
Huh.
And then some superheroes join him, and some supervillains join him, and some superheroes and supervillains form a resistance, and they fight with Batman. So it's really cool. It's a
The
really
only
cool
flaw I
series.
see in that is when Superman blow his load through Lois, would it go through her?
I mean, I'm sure they've probably got like a kryptonite cock ring or something, and it kind of slows it down.
Would it just
There's
dribbles
some
out?
kind of it makes it kind of slow. It slows the sperm down.
Is that another
Yeah.
hashtag?
Hashtag kryptonite cock ring. Jesus, what is wrong with us?
I don't know. Just when you think it can't get any worse, we just there you go.
Wait, didn't Kevin Smith mention that? Something like Superman blows a load like a shotgun through Lois Lane's back or something like that. I think he said that in Mallrats. It was either Mallrats or Chasing Amy.
I don't know. It sounds like a good Mallrats quote though.
Yeah, because I know Banky's talking to Stan Lee about the Rock's dick, and if it's made out of rock, or the Thing's dick, and if it's made out of orange rock too. Mr. Fantastic, if he can blow himself or something like that. I mean, we'll have to ask Richie. He's out with Harley Quinn Smith right now. He's going to have all the answers by the end of the night.
Let's. We're trying to keep these at about an hour, and we're about that time. All right. Any last? We're going to ask our guest here. Any last real fun video game memories that you have, as far as the games we maybe not necessarily talked about, but just something that kind of maybe just jumps to your mind as I ask this question? Like, hey, I really like this, really love this game 20 years ago. I really like this game now. I remember this thing as a kid, specifically, just something different. I'm going to close this out with
Mario Party in college with my buddies when that first came out. So we would, of course, bet drinks on who would win each round, and just getting drunk with them and just doing stupid shit, playing Mario Party was just a blast.
Dude. Bobby and I have done that I don't know how many times.
Oh yeah, well, that's how I was thinking too. Like when I was talking about playing Contra with you and at my mom's house, dude. You and I sat in that wood paneled room and played Mario Party against Dongle Kong and fucking Toad the douchebag and Yoshi the fuckface. How many times?
Yes, we did, and over many a drink, and yeah, no. That was one of the fun things, is that we had, and we had such a good crew of people too that we'd kind of play with, and all the same thing, man. Like play that and drink with, and you mentioned Ewan as one of them, but
that reminded me, that we can play Mario Party Superstars or All Stars, or whatever that one is that just came out. We can play that one online.
Can you?
Yeah, you can play that one online against people. That was one of the big features of it. And I just, for whatever reason, I completely forgot that it came out, completely forgot that I had it. And I saw it the other day when I was going through my games before the trip. But so we'll have to do that. That would be I feel like that would be a fun streaming.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. I don't know if we'll, I think I might be able to record like shotting the TV or something, and then us just commentating, or I'll maybe finally figure out Twitch or something. I don't know. We'll figure
Grinder.
Grind.
No.
That's where he finds his Thai
I swear
bananas.
you said Grinder.
Yeah. No. Didn't say that. But no, man, dude. Sorry for throwing you kind of in a loop here with Richie's date with Harley Quinn. So that kind of took out the '80s horror movie theme for the night. But we will have you back on, because this is the one episode where Bobby and I, like I said, when we first set foot in this room, it was like, yeah, we really don't know a whole lot. And Bink, I told you earlier today, I was like, yeah, I've got one movie on my list. Because I just wanted to kind of have an organic conversation, because I wasn't a big horror movie person, but I think it's a nice open conversation. And really, I think this is going to be fun for Bobby and I to just kind of hear you and Richie go back and forth, because I know Richie's a big horror buff. And,
And you know what's funny though? Like after the 80s, mid 90s, like I stopped watching horror movies.
Yeah,
So
pretty
weird.
much after like the Scream series and stuff, I don't really,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last new like horror movie that I saw was Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
And that was kind of like a comedy too.
I tried watching the others, which came out like 12, 13 years ago or whatever it was. I don't know. It was a creepy movie, but like I'm not into that stuff anymore. It's just not my cup of tea. It's just,
Oh man, real life is scary enough. I don't need to go to the movies to be
Dude,
scared.
Amen.
Watch what, like the Kardashians or any of that bullshit.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
scary.
That's why I don't watch that shit either.
Yeah, that's worse than Saw.
Fuck, I forgot about the Saw movies. Yeah, okay. So I watched some of the Saw movies too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new one. I've got no interest.
Yeah.
And the
So
Girl in the Well, that one was entertaining, I guess. She comes through the TV.
yeah,
Her
Ring.
face.
The Ring.
Ring. Yeah.
The Ring, yeah. I did like that one actually.
Yeah, that's another one, but that's another one that's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I know. It don't seem like it. Here, let's hit the old Google here and see.
Oh, I just looked up.
say,
Apparently there's a free,
2002.
There, yeah, exactly 20 years.
Yeah.
There is a free Twitch app on the Switch. So apparently we can just use that.
That might be something worthwhile to check out. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're learning here. Remember, we're the old folks doing this, so
Yeah, we're super. That's
There's
why our
one dog.
website.
was that your dog shooting off fireworks?
He grabs rocks from outside and just plays with them. He's stupid.
He grabs rocks? Oh boy.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that so much.
Rocks. Look at
Wow, he really does. And he's trying to grab one now. That's awesome.
So give me my fucking rock. Like a crackhead.
Now he's good. See?
I wondered what that was. That's crazy. I thought he was just like smashing a table or something.
That's
He's
fucking
a fucking
funny.
moron.
That's funny as hell, dude.
All right,
Jesus.
gentlemen. I think we've hit time here, and this has been fun. And Bink, we'll do it again. We'll do the '80s horror movies whenever Richie's back on. So, Bobby, you want to close us up here?
Yeah, so until next time, check us out online. We are at the Noise Brigade. Is it the noisebrigade.com? Noise Brigade?
Noise Brigade Pod? No, not the. It's just Noise Brigade Pod. It's just say doublewidecoffin.com.
Doublewidecoffin.com.
It goes to the same thing.
You can buy
You said
merch.
Thai bananas.
You can't
Yeah,
buy Thai bananas. But you
Dude,
can
I'm
buy
not going to
it.
register another domain name.
You can go to ThaiBananas.com. I mean, I did not mean to say that. Don't go to ThaiBananas.com because I don't know what it's going to be. And I don't want to be responsible for you getting fired from your job for going to that site and it being something you shouldn't be looking at work. Go to doublewidecoffin.com. Go to noisebrigade.com. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. where we have a video of Tom and Danielle and I playing Switch Sports, doing some bowling action. It's our first video. There's also a video of us talking about Tom and banana hammocks as a little preview trailer. So there's that. And buy some stuff, man. Buy a hoodie, buy a t-shirt, buy. We're not doing the socks because they were really expensive, right? They were like
They're still on there. They're only 18.
Oh, are they on
there?
there?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, you can buy some socks. Hey, buy whatever you want, man. Because guess what? It goes to a very special charity, which is me, Tom, and Richie. So go buy some shit. And yeah, till the next time. Thank you for listening. We have been the Noise Brigade.